What if you opened your eyes tomorrow and found yourself in Atlantis? This was the land Plato once spoke of, a place said to flow with milk and honey. According to the philosopher, this lost civilization was far beyond anything the human mind could imagine. Then, in a single day and night, it vanished beneath the waves. But what exactly was this mysterious world? How did they reach such an advanced state that even Plato himself was captivated? What became of them? And perhaps the biggest question of all, what would life be like if you woke up in Atlantis today? We'll uncover the answers together, right here, on this episode of Digging History. Welcome. Once upon a time, great thinkers gathered to learn from the wisdom of the world's finest philosophers. In the age of Socrates, humanity was only beginning to grasp the power of philosophy and how deeply it shapes our understanding of life. So when Socrates' student Plato rose to prominence, the torch of respect was naturally passed on.
Poseidon,
And indeed, Plato's words carried remarkable
Atlantis.
depth and clarity. For years, his teachings inspired countless minds. But one day, everything changed because of two works he published, Timaeus and Critias. Now, what was it about these dialogues that stirred so much discussion? It wasn't just their intriguing titles. In them, Plato shared his ideas about how the world and humanity came to be. But he didn't approach it like any ordinary philosopher. He spoke with such conviction, as though recounting events from an ancient record buried in time. And hidden within those writings, he spoke of a long-lost civilization, Atlantis. So, what did Plato actually say about this place? In his own words, in the days of old, the gods had the whole earth divided among themselves by allotment. Poseidon, receiving the island of Atlantis as his portion, fathered children with a mortal woman, and settled them in part of that island, which I shall now describe. When he finally described it, the entire scholarly world was thrown into turmoil. And here's why. Plato portrayed a civilization so advanced that it seemed impossible for its time. His words painted such vivid detail that they sounded like scenes straight out of a science fiction epic. For instance, he wrote, "The most famous of all was the destruction of the island of Atlantis. This vast land lay opposite the Pillars of Heracles, larger than Libya and Asia combined.
But what is the
It served as a gateway to other islands and to a boundless ocean, of which the Mediterranean was merely a harbor.
The harmony of the
Within the
soul.
Pillars, the empire of Atlantis stretched in Europe to Tyrrhenia and in Libya to Egypt." Plato went even further. He claimed that his knowledge of
Behold the
Atlantis
golden sun.
came from ancient Egyptian
Just as
priests,
it illuminates the world,
a story passed down
so
for more
too
than
does the
9,000
form
years
of the
before his
good
time.
illuminate the mind.
He insisted that Atlantis was not only real, but so technologically advanced it rivaled all known civilizations. Naturally, this was hard to accept. Imagine revering a philosopher whose wisdom was considered absolute truth, only for him to tell a story that sounded too extraordinary to believe. That's how scholars of his time felt. On one side, Plato's account of Atlantis read like a genuine historical record. He explained that the story had been passed down from Egyptian priest to Solon, a respected Greek statesman who lived around 600 BCE. But on the other hand, it seemed too allegorical, almost poetic, leading many to believe that Plato intended it as a philosophical metaphor, not a literal history. So which was it? Critics of the myth theory raised an excellent point. If Atlantis was purely symbolic, why did Plato describe real geographical regions, like Asia, Europe, and Libya, to establish its scale and position? He clearly wrote, "This great island lay opposite the Pillars of Heracles, larger than Libya and Asia put together." And that's not all. Atlantis didn't just vanish. It met a mysterious and catastrophic end. This led many to wonder whether Plato's account was more than mere fable. What if Atlantis truly existed, and its destruction was a real, world-changing disaster? We're not talking about the fictional kingdoms seen in cartoons or fantasy films. Plato described Atlantis as a highly sophisticated, utopian world, a technological marvel that disappeared beneath the sea in just one day and night. Modern historians often dismiss the story as pure allegory. But when you read Plato's words carefully, you notice something different. A tone that sounds like documentation, not imagination. He wrote, "Afterwards came violent earthquakes and floods, and in a single day and night of misfortune, All your warlike men sank into the earth, and the island of Atlantis likewise disappeared into the depths of the sea. There was Atlantis, and then there wasn't. How could such a detailed, consistent account be so easily dismissed as myth? The truth is, it can't. Because scattered across ancient ruins, buried beneath sands and oceans, and etched into mysterious megalithic stones, traces of something extraordinary remain. Clues that hint Atlantis might have truly existed. And not only that, but that its people were far from primitive. They might have been something far greater, far more advanced than we ever imagined. In this video, we're not just asking if Atlantis was real. We're asking something far bolder. What would it actually feel like to live there? Picture yourself as one of them, a citizen of Atlantis, in the final moments before the Great Flood consumed the city. How would life look? What would you see, feel, or hear? According to Plato, the possibilities are astonishing. You'd stroll beneath grand domed temples, humming with crystal-powered energy. You'd glide through sleek aerial transport systems that make our modern technology look primitive. You'd dine on foods enhanced through frequency-based farming. Diseases? Healed not with medicine, but through sound and color. And the stars? You'd study them through lenses more ancient and advanced than Galileo's. Sounds impossible, doesn't it? Yet these details don't come from science fiction. They're drawn from ancient writings and archaeological traces that historians are still debating, or perhaps concealing. But then something happened. Something powerful enough to shatter this golden age. A catastrophe that didn't just wipe out a city, it erased an entire era from the timeline of Earth. Before we witness its end, let's step inside the forgotten world of Atlantis. Morning breaks. The sunlight warms your face. As you open your eyes and gaze out your window, something feels different. The horizon unfolds in perfect rings of land and sea, concentric circles that glimmer under the rising sun. You turn your head, and towering white walls reflect the light. Crystal domes vibrate softly, pulsing with subtle energy. Welcome to Atlantis, a world far beyond imagination. You step outside, and the view is breathtaking. Your home seems sculpted from luminous stone, glowing faintly in the daylight. It's not only stunning, it's intelligent. The structure regulates temperature on its own and channels the planet's natural frequencies. How incredible is that? You look down the streets, no traffic jams, no blaring horns, no chaos. Just silent, magnetic pods, floating smoothly along invisible rails. Time here doesn't rush, it flows. The city moves with rhythm, not disorder. Everything breathes in harmony. And then you notice something profound. Atlantis isn't just built, it's designed. Every building, every street, every plaza follows sacred geometry. Streets align with the constellations, and the architecture vibrates at frequencies said to heal both mind and body. Here, science and spirit are inseparable. Now think about when you move to a new city or travel on vacation. Your first focus is your home, right? But once you settle in, you crave experiences. In Atlantis, the same rule applies. So, our next stop, the Energy Hall. Just like its name suggests, it's the beating heart of the entire civilization. You step inside, and the air feels alive. Walls shimmer with a deep violet glow. Massive quartz crystals pulse with electromagnetic energy drawn straight from the Earth's core. These crystals don't just power the city's lights, they power consciousness itself. Hard to believe? Wait until you hear this. Modern science already acknowledges quartz as a conductor of electrical energy. But this isn't new knowledge. Ancient traditions from Egypt, Tibet, and Mesoamerica all speak of vast crystal grids that once energized sacred cities. In Atlantis, the same technology thrived and went far beyond our comprehension. Atlantean healers didn't use crystals as mere tools. They used them as extensions of the mind. The moment you step into their healing chambers, waves of harmonic sound fill the space. You don't take medicine here, you experience healing. Diseases fade, replaced by balance. Imagine how different our world would be if healing worked like that today. And if their medicine was extraordinary, Imagine their education system. For them, learning wasn't about memorization. It was about awakening human potential. In the schools of Atlantis, children were taught not just arithmetic or writing, but telepathy, sacred geometry, astronomy, and dream navigation. Sound too far-fetched? Perhaps not. For a civilization this advanced, schools were more like temples, spaces where intellect and spirituality merged. Alignment of the soul came before rote memorization. Wouldn't our modern world benefit from a system like that? But even that's not the most impressive part of Atlantean society. Plato wrote, "Now in this island of Atlantis, there existed a confederation of kings, mighty and marvelous, ruling not only this island, but many others, and even parts of the continent. Just how powerful must this empire have been to extend its reach across oceans?" To find out, we look again to their technology. At the very center of the city, energy wasn't simply used, it was balanced. Giant crystalline towers stood like guardians of harmony. They weren't built for decoration, but for resonance, maintaining beauty, symmetry, and stability. Together, these towers formed a colossal energy network that tapped into Earth's natural magnetic field, a system strikingly similar to what Nikola Tesla envisioned thousands of years later. But the Atlanteans believed something even more extraordinary, that crystals were conscious. When aligned correctly, these stones could bend gravity, reshape matter, and perhaps even alter time itself. At this point, it's hard to deny that what many call myth might actually be suppressed history. Even today, traces of quartz-based technology and magnetic stone formations, like those at Pumapunku and Baalbek, continue to puzzle modern engineers. Could these be remnants of Atlantean knowledge? Relics from a civilization far ahead of its time? Then for a moment during your journey, your attention drifts from sight to sound. That's when it hits you. In Atlantis, sound isn't just for music. It's the language of matter itself. Atlantean architects didn't sculpt with tools. They built with vibration. By projecting harmonic sound waves, they could alter the density of materials, reshape stone, and even make massive structures float into place. Some legends speak of tuning forks that lifted blocks effortlessly, while others describe voice-activated doors and sonic healing rituals that repaired tissue without a single incision. Strange? Maybe. But what if it's true? It raises an even bigger question. What if the Great Pyramids, the stone spheres of Costa Rica, and the intricate H-blocks of Tiwanaku were all constructed using the same lost sonic technology? In the early 1900s, Nikola Tesla shocked the world with his Wardenclyffe Tower, demonstrating wireless energy transmission. Yet if Plato's writings hold any truth, Atlantis had already mastered this millennia before. Their cities were powered by crystal grids, magnetic fields, and atmospheric resonance. Light shone without lamps. Water flowed effortlessly, even uphill. Transportation hovered silently across the landscape. And here's the astonishing part. All of it was done without polluting the air. They had achieved the level of clean, renewable technology our world still dreams about. The truth? A civilization thousands of years ago may have already reached and surpassed humanity's current goals. Now, if during your visit to Atlantis you happen to fall ill, prepare to be amazed. Their concept of medicine was unlike anything you've ever seen. For the Atlanteans, healing wasn't about curing disease. It was about restoring balance. They believed that illness began as a disruption of the body's natural vibration. So, instead of pills or scalpels, their healers used sound, color, and light to retune the body's frequency. In Atlantis, these weren't decorations, they were medicine. Patients lay beneath crystalline domes shaped like prisms, while beams of colored light pulsed in perfect rhythm. Each hue corresponded to an energy center, realigning chakras, repairing tissue, and calming the nervous system. Sound familiar? Today, emerging sciences like chromotherapy, bioresonance, and frequency healing echo these same ancient ideas, though we're only beginning to rediscover them. Can you imagine walking into one of their hospitals? You wouldn't be greeted by machines or fluorescent lights, but by silence, incense, and sacred geometry. These weren't hospitals at all. They were temples of healing. The air vibrated with peace. The walls were alive with patterns of light. Silence wasn't awkward. It was medicine. Diagnosis didn't rely on X-rays or MRIs either. Healers could see the imbalance through the aura or sense it telepathically.
Did you see that?
To them,
The interference
sickness
just
wasn't an
spiked.
enemy. It was a signal from the soul,
Truly a marvel
asking
of
to be
ancient
heard.
engineering.
No wonder that when modern archaeologists stumble upon ancient temples carved with surgical precision and strange metallic tools nearby, they wonder, could these have been the hospitals of a forgotten age? But the Atlantean mastery of healing didn't stop there. Their understanding of aging was just as remarkable. In this civilization, aging wasn't feared, it was optional. Many citizens entered rejuvenation chambers, crystalline pods designed to emit low-frequency waves that repaired DNA, regenerated cells, and even reawakened ancestral memory. Incredible as it sounds, some say these chambers could extend life by hundreds of years. Atlanteans believed DNA wasn't just biology, it carried the memories of previous lives. To heal the body was also to unlock ancient wisdom buried within the self. What modern scientists call epigenetics, Atlantis referred to simply as remembering who you are. But then comes the haunting question. If such wonders truly existed, what happened to them? The answer? Perhaps we'll never know. As you continue walking through the luminous streets, you meet the citizens of Atlantis and notice something extraordinary about their society.
Faster now.
Here,
Look at the energy
leadership isn't inherited. It's earned.
Unbelievable. That's the unified field
Kings
equation.
and queens
It
weren't
actually
monarchs
worked.
by birthright, but by mastery. They were initiates who had proven their discipline, intellect, and spiritual awareness. Rulership was shared with councils of sages, healers, and scientists. Power came from merit, not from lineage. Behind the throne stood something even more mysterious, a priesthood, unlike anything known today.
I've never seen
Let's talk about
like
the
it.
Atlantean priests. They were masters of energy, trained from childhood in astral projection, alchemy, and the universal laws that bind reality. Their temples pulsed with spiritual science, acting as both places of worship and laboratories of consciousness. And governance in Atlantis? It wasn't a hierarchy. It was a balance. Every council united masculine logic with feminine intuition, forming a dual system of reason and empathy. Children were taught to harness both intellect and focus. Psychic ability
Observe
wasn't
how the
supernatural
energy pulse
here.
stabilizes at
It was
the fifth
normal,
node.
expected,
It's
and nurtured.
absorbing the fluctuation perfectly.
Wouldn't that be the ideal way to lead a civilization? By now, you've explored the wonders of Atlantis, its light, sound, and wisdom. But what about daily life? A typical day begins not with an alarm clock, but with gentle rays of light filtering through translucent crystal walls. Your home is built from a glowing alloy known as orichalcum, a legendary metal said to shine like fire and conduct energy better than any known substance. Even the windows are alive with purpose. They don't just let sunlight in. They amplify positive frequencies and block out energetic pollution. In Atlantis, every element of life vibrates with intention. Thinking about it alone makes you want to rebuild the world from scratch, doesn't it? And when it comes to transportation, forget asphalt roads and roaring engines. In Atlantis, travel wasn't noisy or messy. It was fluid, seamless, almost magical. Levitating pods drifted along invisible paths, moving through the air with grace. They weren't powered by gasoline or gears, but by resonance, perfectly tuned to the planet's magnetic rhythm. Need to cross an ocean? No problem. Just step into an underwater tunnel, and you'd emerge on the other side of the world in moments. This was the scale of advancement Plato tried to capture in his writings. And when it came to daily living, work, recreation, and spirituality weren't separate lanes. In Atlantis, your profession wasn't chosen for money or fame. It was a reflection of your soul's frequency. Artists, healers, inventors, and scientists shared the same purpose: creation in service of harmony. Work wasn't drudgery, it was devotion. Leisure wasn't escape, it was spiritual renewal. Music, art, and meditation weren't distractions. They were woven into life itself. Everyday rituals carried deep purpose. Morning began with crystal recalibration, and evenings closed with collective resonance baths. Even eating was an act of awareness. Atlantis wasn't a dream. It was design. Intentional, balanced, alive. Makes you wonder, maybe the secret to human potential was never lost, only forgotten in how we live. Did you know, long before Magellan or Columbus, Atlantean sailors were already navigating the world? Their ships didn't rely on compasses or paper maps. They read the stars as if they were ancient codes. Plato spoke of Atlantean vessels that harnessed the Earth's magnetic grid, guided by pure energy. Centuries later, the mysterious Piri Reis map surfaced, showing Antarctica without ice. How could someone map a continent buried under glaciers long before modern discovery? Was it coincidence? Or evidence of Atlantean knowledge passed down through time? And when you start connecting artifacts scattered across the globe, things get even stranger. How do statues with African features appear in ancient Mexican ruins? Why do temples in Peru mirror the symmetry of Egyptian pyramids? Mainstream archaeology calls it coincidence, but those who study Atlantean theory see something else: connection. Think about it. Carvings, symbols, and pyramid blueprints appear across continents like pieces of one global puzzle. In Bolivia's Pumapunku, stones are carved with laser-like precision that mirrors Giza's craftsmanship. And in Japan, the Yonaguni Monument lies beneath the sea, eerily matching Atlantis' own description. Could this be mere chance? Or proof of a vast trade network once ruled by a single advanced civilization? According to Plato, Egyptian priests told Solon that Atlantis fell 9,000 years before his time. But what if that wasn't the end? What if it marked the beginning of a new chapter? Some say the survivors spread across the world, seeding civilization anew. Thoth in Egypt, Quetzalcoatl in Mesoamerica, Viracocha in Peru. Bearded gods of light who taught language, science, and law. Coincidence? Or the memory of Atlanteans reborn as legends? Even the Dogon tribe of Mali speak of visitors from the stars, bearing cosmic wisdom, echoing the same mythos. Perhaps Atlantis never truly vanished. Maybe it evolved. The Atlanteans didn't fear death. They understood it as a bridge to the next life. Reincarnation wasn't theory, it was knowledge. Priests and sages could recall past lives through deep meditation and soul science. They also believed in karmic cycles, that actions ripple across lifetimes until harmony returns. Prophets once warned them, when greed outweighs wisdom, the balance will break. And when it did, their golden era ended. Because even in a world of light and brilliance, corruption can creep in. Atlantis lost sight of its purpose. Despite all its progress, nothing could stop the hunger for power. Plato's story says that when the gods saw their moral decay, they unleashed their fury. In a single, catastrophic night, the island trembled and sank beneath the waves. But even now, one mystery remains. If an earthquake destroyed Atlantis, why do so many ancient accounts link its fall to the Great Flood? Could they have been one and the same? What if the deluge that reshaped the earth wasn't just nature's wrath, but the universe resetting its balance? Tell us what you think in the comments. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and keep your mind open. Until next time, keep seeking the forgotten truths of our ancient past.